A glance at the grins on her daughters' faces, and her smile came easily. "I'm wearing my swimsuit." "Goody, Mommy!" Maddie jumped up and down and reached for Hayley's hand. "We can play tea party on the steps." They joined Peter downstairs, and but for the girls' excited chatter, they rode in silence to the house across town where Brooke's partner Aletha and her husband Duane lived. At 3 years old, Hayley was still small enough to carry, so Brooke swept her into her arms as they headed up the walk toward the front door. On the way up the steps, Hayley took hold of Brooke's hand and squeezed it 3 times, the sign Brooke used with the girls to say, "I love you." The love from her younger daughter was the perfect remedy for Peter's coolness. "You're a sweet girl, Hayley. Do you know that?" She shifted her pool bag to her shoulder. "You too, Mommy." Hayley rubbed her tiny nose against Brooke's. "You're a sweetie girl, too. Know why?" "Why?" Brooke and Hayley trailed behind, and Brooke took her time. She loved moments like this with her girls. "Because?" Hayley tilted her head, her pale blonde hair falling like silk around her wide-eyed face. "I love you, that's why." The door opened, and Aletha smiled at them from the front step. "Hi, the party's out back." Peter pulled out a smile, the one he wielded whenever they were in public. Brooke studied him, confused and hurt. Why couldn't he smile that way at her? She'd been meaning to ask him, but she hadn't found the chance. She was a few feet from the front door when her pager went off. She exhaled hard as she unclipped the pager from her waistband and stared at the small message window. "Urgent," it read. The word was followed by the hospital's main number. "Great," she thought. "I won't get even an hour with them in the pool." Peter came up behind her and looked over her shoulder. "What is it?" "A hospital call." She didn't hide the disappointment in her voice. "Maybe it's nothing." Several children, breathless and excited, ran into the foyer and surrounded Hayley and Maddie. Brooke ducked into the nearest bedroom and pulled her cell phone from her purse. "Dr. Brooke Baxter West here. Someone paged me." The nurse on the other end rattled off the information. One of the patients from their office had been admitted with a staph infection. It looked serious. They wanted a pediatrician to consult immediately. "I'm on my way." Brooke hung up the phone and returned to the foyer. Peter caught her look and raised his eyebrows. "Well?" "I have to go." She pursed her lips. Doctoring was the most exhilarating career she could imagine having, but not when it interfered with her family. "I'll be back as quick as I can." "It's your own fault." A ribbon of anger wrapped itself around her heart. "What's that supposed to mean?" Peter shrugged, his eyes distant. "You took the on-call." Maddie ran up to her. "Natasha wants us to swim, Mommy. Can we please? Can we right now?" Baby." She looked at Hayley standing a foot away, waiting for her answer. "Why don't you wait till Mommy comes back?" "We can swim then, too. Please, Mommy, can we?" Natasha did a little dance nearby and hugged Brooke. Their families had been friends for years, and Maddie and Natasha were best buddies. "Please, can we swim?" Natasha linked arms with Maddie, and the two smiled their best smiles. Brooke could feel the fight leaving her. So she'd miss out on some of the fun. If she hurried, she'd be back in time to join them in the pool. "Okay." She allowed a slight smile. "But let me talk to Daddy first." Peter had moved into the living room, and Brooke found him and Duane seated side by side, their eyes glued to the television. A baseball playoff game was on, and Aletha had joked that having the party at that time could mean the men might never leave the TV. Brooke crossed the room and positioned herself between her husband and the big screen. "The girls want to swim.